Hi, welcome back. This is Amy. So today I'm going to show you the seeds I planted to start my vegetable garden. I had planned on filming it, but I had technical difficulties, so it's the seeds are already planted, so I'll show you what the little seed greenhouse looks like and I have the seeds with all their little labels, and then I will show you the little seed packets and go over what I actually planted in the 72 pod. It's a Jiffy brand 72 peat pellet pod um, tray. Let me get the label, the brand. Okay, so this is the tray I got. This is the thing. It's the Jiffy brand greenhouse kit. Seed starting greenhouse kit. 72 peat pellets. And it has if you want to, like a little map or grid on the back to write down what you planted. I normally don't use this. I had it just write it down on regular paper. But they have that. It has directions. So what they do, the little pellets that they come flat like this, and what you do, you add water to the tray and you hydrate your pods, and then they expand to about this. Sometimes they don't expand all the way. It's just, I don't know what it is. But you can kind of squish them and make them taller if they don't get, like, it's about 2 inches, I think. Anyway, so this is what I usually get every year. I've been using these for quite a while. Sometimes they have there's a different brand. I got this one at Home Depot for under $13. It was $12.90 something or something like that. But you can get them at Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. They might have a different actual brand, but they're the same type of tray. You can see here, this is part of the tray. It has a lid, and I will show you my tray. So this is my tray. Like I said, I already got it planted. It's with the lid, and I don't know if you can tell, but it gets it does not close all the way. There's a little gap, but that's okay because you want some air to get in for it to breathe. It does need some air, but and normally I have a heat mat under here, which is a little mat you just plug in and it causes some heat, which causes your seeds to germinate a little quicker. But I couldn't find my heat mat this year, so we're gonna try it. Like normally they will germinate without your heat mat. You don't need it. You just need to keep it an even warm temperature. And they can see there's a little steam, not steam, but kind of fogs up, which means it's keeping the heat, it's heating nicely, and it's keeping the warmth in. So we're going to take off the lid, and it's usually going to take either anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks for the seeds to start popping up. And but as you can see, these are the little pods. This is a Tiny Tim. This is a cherry tomato, but it's just a moist little like soil in there, and you just plant your seeds, cover the soil up, and stick it in here. And I have these little labels I got. You can get them off Amazon. You can get them at your garden center. Usually anywhere that has garden supplies usually has labels too. And this comes with some labels, but the thing about the labels that come with it, they only give you like 6 labels. So there's not enough to even do a row. But anyway, so how I do mine is for each pod, unless it's a different, so like this one is Tiny Tim, the next one is Tommy Toe, and then I have another one that doesn't have a label. But the way I do it is, this is the Tommy Toe until I come to the next plant that's different. So then this is a large red cherry tomato, so I have 2 of those. So the next different one is going to be a tropical sunset, which is cherry tomato. So I do that with all my pods. So I don't use a label for each and every one, even if it's the same one. I don't need it. I just know that this is San Marzano, and all the ones behind that don't have a label are San Marzano. So I have 4 San Marzano tomatoes. And then the next one would be Roma. So on and so forth. Okay, so that's all of the seeds that I have planted, and I did that yesterday, which is Saturday. Today's Sunday, so whenever I get this video up. But anyway, it should take anywhere between a week to 2 weeks for the seeds to start popping up. It is, some of them have a different germination time. Some of them take a week. Some of them take 2. I've had ones that take like 3 weeks for whatever reason, but generally it doesn't take that long. But so that's the little seed tray. And then I usually keep the till the seed starts popping up. Now you're gonna need some more light. I have this sitting here on this table by my closet, but normally in the daytime I would put it on my craft desk that's by the window, and I have a light that's above it. It's not necessarily a grow light, it's just a lamp that I would keep on in the daytime to give it enough light. But I don't have a place to plant a grow light that gets the over amount of light that it needs, because if you don't have enough light, your seeds start growing and they get like really long stems. It's called being leggy. But I just don't have a perfect place for it. And just because they get long stems and leggy doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good plant. I plant them every year like that. When I get ready to transfer them into the little 4-inch pots when they get big enough, and I put them outside, they've done really well. They've come out of their legginess and just been really, really good plants. So I don't worry about that too much. I try to get enough light on here that I can. Like I said, I usually sit it on my craft table, but I'm going to be doing some crafts on my table, so I can't sit it there right now. But normally I have some kind of lamp that shines on this to give it a good amount of light. And I don't keep my light on all night. At night, I turn off the light. Generally, if you had a grow light, like in a greenhouse or something like that, people generally keep their lights on 24/7. But just because this is just in my room and I don't want to keep the light on all night because it get too hot, I turn it off at night, and then in the daytime, I have the light on. So anyway, so that's that. And then let's get to what actual plants I'm growing. Okay, here we go. Trying to figure this out, but I think this is what we're gonna have to do with it. Okay, welcome back. Technical difficulties again. So now we're gonna go over the seeds I started. I showed you my little starter tray, my greenhouse kit. And I think I'm doing it this way on my videoing it on my computer. I think this might be a better for me to show the seed packets. So that's what I'm going to do. So I already showed you the seed tray. Now we're going to go over these seed packets and one by one. So I did a tiny, these are, so what I'm going to show you now is the cherry tomatoes that I've started, which, let me grab them all here. Yeah, that's all the cherry tomatoes. Okay, so the first one is they're all cherry. First one is a dwarf cherry. It's just a very small plant, but the tomatoes are actually uh regular sized cherry tomatoes, I guess, but you can plant this one in a small pot. You can actually plant it in a small pot and start it indoors or grow it indoors if you want. It would be just like a plant pot or something. But these did really well last year in the garden. Hope you can see it in my garden. I had them in a smaller pot. Normally I start I plant all my cherry tomatoes in pots or 5-gallon buckets, and the pots I use are usually about 21 to 22 inch diameter pots. They're bigger pots. And they do nicely. I've did that for years, and I've always got a good crop of cherry tomatoes. Either I just started the 5-gallon buckets um a few years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I started doing that, and they did well in those too. So another one is the Tommy Toe. It's a red cherry. Um, Tomito. It's a good sized red cherry. These Tomito have done really well. I was surprised how much they produced on the plant. Um, they, all of these have normally done very well, all these cherry tomatoes. I've gotten a crop of everything since I started planting these. Most of my, and this is a large red cherry. It's just another red cherry tomato. Most of these I've gotten from my seeds I have gotten from the M.I. Gardner heirloom seeds. He's out of Michigan. These seed packets, normally you can get anywhere from 10 to 25 seeds depending on the vegetable or whatever. There is a specialty tomato that I have. It's 5 seeds in a pack. Um, it's the Giant Crimson, and we'll go over that in a few moments. But that one's $5 a pack, and you only get 5 seeds. But there's a story that goes with that. He started those seeds from an old seed packet he found, and he was curious to see if they would germinate. I mean, they were like 80 something year old seeds in this packet, and he actually started them. And so from there, starting them, he's got them to grow, and he's been producing. So for the last few years, he's had enough to package some seeds and sell them through the years, each growing season. He collects a little bit more and a little bit more, and so he has more tomatoes to plant, so he can collect more seeds. But yeah, so there's that. But normally these are the seed packets I get from him are $2 a pack. And if you buy, I think it's still going on. When I got them, if you bought $12 worth, it's just for the seeds. 12 dollars worth of seeds, you can get free shipping. So this is a really good deal from M.I. Gardner. I really like him. He has videos on YouTube. He has Facebook page. Um, he's just got a new place. I'm not getting paid by M.I. Gardner. This is not a paid thing. It's just I'm really happy with his seeds and his product, and if you're interested, you can Google that. But let's continue on. So we have a blush tomato. Those are really pretty. The blush tomato. I have a tigerella. These have you can't see it here, but there's like a little kind of green stripiness going on with them. And these are a little bit bigger than your normal cherry tomatoes. That one and the blush get a little bit bigger than just your normal, round, probably like an inch or less size. These are a pretty good size, or they have been for me anyway. And there's some yellow pear, and we have one of my favorites is the black cherry. That does really well here. This is really well in the heat here. It's like a maroon colored cherry tomato. Those taste really good. I also have a tropical sunset, which is an orange colored cherry tomato. And that's the red cherry. Yeah, we did that. So that's it for the cherry tomatoes that I have. And normally when I plant those pods, I usually put at least 2 seeds in a pod to make sure I get some kind of a lot of times both of the seeds will germinate and I'll have 2 plants in a pod, but that's okay because once I get ready to transplant them outside into the 4-inch pots when they get big enough, I will usually separate those seedlings and I'll just have 2 plants of that. So there is that. And then we'll get to the regular size tomatoes. And so one of the ones I have is a gold medal. It's a yellow tomato. And I have a Paul Robeson. This is a kind of a maroon colored tomato. These are good. These are all good tomatoes. I've gotten it, some of them didn't do too well, but it gets really like a dry heat here in Northern California. We get really, by the time July gets here, we're like 110s sometimes. For a week we get 110 plus, maybe for 2 weeks. Last year was pretty hot. I had a couple of weeks of the 110 pluses, I believe, but it gets to be a dry heat. And this is a Cherokee Purple. This one I got off of I think I got this from Amazon, but it was through Ohio heirloom seeds. This is a maroon colored tomato also. Black Krim. The Black Krim did really well here. So some of these tomatoes I noticed if they do really well, I think they're a little bit heat tolerant. So for them to do well, especially in the height of the summertime, is a really good. So that one's a maroon color. Then I have one called the pineapple. I've tried this a couple years ago, but I didn't really get anything. But I had a hard time in the last few years. I've had a hard time in my garden. I think just with the heat. Plus, I've had gophers. But now that we have outside cats, the outside cats kind of control the gophers, but they also like to play with the plants. So that's a double-edged sword of sorts. But this is a pineapple tomato. It's kind of an orangish, reddish color. It's not quite a yellow color like you would think of a pineapple, but then there's Big Rainbow. Trying to get this in here. There we go. That's kind of a more reddish color. And then the Early Girl, we've always had Early Girl for, I don't know, since we planted our garden. My dad used to plant more of the garden than me for quite a while. And then about 20 years ago, I started doing my own gardening. So the Early Girl always did. It's a good, seems to be heat tolerant here too. This is the giant crimson I was talking about. It's a special leaf tomato. It doesn't get really big, but it's a good juicy tomato. Um, like I said, there's only 5 seeds in this pack, and he does have a limit, or he did have two packs per customer, just because he was limited on how many seeds he had. But I don't know where he's at now, but on limiting the seeds for the tomato. But there's five seeds in this. I usually only plant a couple of these, so I have a couple of packs, but I think one I haven't opened yet, and I probably have finished the one pack. And then this one, the 4th of July, I got this. I actually think I got it's a Burpee brand seed. I think I got this at Home Depot. I found this and I really wanted to try it. It's supposedly, if you plant it at the appropriate time early enough, it's a little late now, but they were supposed to produce by the 4th of July. So, in last couple of years, I did plant early enough that I did get tomatoes by the 4th of July. And these aren't a really big tomato. They're kind of a medium smaller tomato. I call them like a salad tomato, just kind of a smaller tomato that you just slice up and put in your salads. They're bigger than a cherry, but not a big tomato. And the Roma I love. I like to cook these, peel them, dice them up, and then I freeze them. And I have diced tomatoes for things, or making sauce, pasta sauce, and I do that with and the San Marzanos are my favorite like sauce making tomatoes that I do. They're a little bit elongated, a little bit chunky, fat, but they're really good. I mean, you can use them for normally Roma I use to make salsas for all the time. When I make salsa, I usually use a Roma tomato, but I mean, really, I'll use any tomato to make salsa in the summertime. But I do like the Roma tomatoes. The San Marzano tomatoes are good for, like I said, cooking, dicing them up, pasta sauce. And then I also grow basil, and so I'll have fresh basil, I have fresh oregano. I usually have that stuff. So when I make a sauce, I cook it up and I put them in these little 16-ounce plastic containers, and I'll freeze them. So last year I didn't really get in. Sorry, there's a helicopter going by. We get helicopter traffic out here. That one looked like a medical helicopter or a fire helicopter. It was red and white. So anyway, side note, weird things happen here. Um, anyway, yes. So the San Marzanos, I like to cook them and then I freeze them, and we have some sauce for later, like a homemade pasta sauce. And then let's see what I got. These are all gonna be Are these all peppers? I think these are all my peppers. I thought I had, oh, it's basil. I did have, oh no, there's a couple other odd man out, odd vegetable out. So yeah, like I said, I do, sometimes I've bought basil in the past too, but this year I grew like I have in 6 pods, I have some basil. This is the mammoth. Yeah, the mammoth basil. Sorry, I'm trying to get it good, but it's very hard. Um, I like fresh basil. Oh, can't just get I mean, fresh basil is just awesome. And then let's go over these. Before we get to the peppers, we'll just do the odd different. So I love growing tomatillos. It's like a little green, it has these green husks over it. And then, if you don't know tomatillos, they look like a little green, like, tomato or a big cherry tomato that's green, but these have a tart flavor. This is usually the base in salsa when they make a green salsa verde. This is usually the base for that salsa. It tastes really good. I just put them in other things. You don't have to make them for just salsa. I make like pork chili verde. I can make some fried potatoes and just throw some of those tomatillos in there. Like I said, it has a tart flavor to it, but it just, they cook up really well. People grill, uh, like I say, making the salsa, they're just really good. And that's just something that in my area, we have a lot of Mexican food choices that are like authentic. I mean, not like, I'm not talking like Taco Bell, but like authentic, good Mexican food here. And so we have a lot of Mexican markets in our area that carry um, produce and things that you normally wouldn't get in, like, say, uh, a whole lot some in Walmart, but not a whole lot, or the other surrounding grocery stores we have don't carry a lot of the, let's see, Mexican, Spanish type grocery um, things that the Hispanic people use for in their cooking a lot. Anyway, we just have some really good markets and some really good food, and I love Mexican food. I love it. So I like to make it too whenever I can. Obviously, I'm not making it from scratch most of the time. Um, I make it my own way, but anyway. So we also have eggplant, Black Beauty. This is probably my favorite eggplant. It's more of the oval, fatty eggplants that you would see you can make eggplant parm, or a lot of times I'll cut it up and put it in a stir fry. Just different things to use that. And then I also have early long. It's the longer. Sometimes I've seen them at the garden stores. They call them the Japanese style. Um, I don't know if that's just because it was something that started growing in Japan like that and they brought them over, or if it's just, I don't know why they named it that. You can Google that if you want. But, oh, it's getting mixed up. I'm not done. Now the peppers. We like to grow a lot of tomatoes and a lot of peppers here. We love peppers. One of the things I've been trying to grow, which I haven't got a good harvest yet to actually try them, maybe this year, every year, I do that. This little seeds I got off Amazon from uh, Bohica Pepper Hut. That's where I got these seeds. It was through Amazon, I think. Anyway, this is a Carolina Reaper. This is super hot. Um, like I said, haven't got a good harvest. I don't know if it's just not tropical enough. It needs a little bit more humidity in the air, but like I said, it's a dry heat here. It gets really hot, but it doesn't get like usually humid. Um, so I haven't been able to really try these. I've gotten a few and I've frozen them thinking I'd make some salsa, but I didn't get to it. But anyway, once again, we are going to make I'm going to grow Carolina Reaper, super hot, super duper. And I also have another super hot is where'd it go? The ghost pepper. Those I've gotten some and I froze them and I haven't made the salsa yet. So we're going to try again this year. Maybe this is the year, but this is a ghost pepper. These are super hot, not as hot as a Carolina Reaper. The Carolina Reaper, the guy who started the Carolina Reaper, he has created another pepper that's it is just awarded being hotter than the Carolina Reaper. So that is, I think it's called Pepper X. I don't think he's changed the name yet, but Pepper X is supposedly the hottest pepper there is, and then the Carolina Reaper, I believe, comes in just under that, and it's the same guy who did the Carolina Reaper who created the Pepper X. And he's in Carolina. Which Carolina, I'm not sure. But his name is oh shoot. I'll have to Google it. I forgot his name. Anyway, doesn't matter. We do sweet banana peppers. They do have banana peppers that are hot, but we like the sweet ones. And we have the habanada pepper is a heatless habanero. It's the kind of the same I don't know what you would call it. Kind of a tanginess, whatever it is, of the fruit without the heat, or the pepper without the heat. And then we have the regular habanero, orange habanero. Those are really hot. Habaneros are really hot. If you haven't tried the habaneros, they're hot. And I have excuse me, gosh, I have a lemon habanero, which is a yellow habanero. Okay, so we have those, and those did really well last year. Those have a lot of peppers on the plant. I get a lot of those. And then another one that I get a lot, it's a hot pepper, is a lemon drop. They're a smaller, little small yellow pepper, hot pepper, but I get a lot from, I just plant like one plant and I get a lot of these peppers on the plant. I mean, they just like cover the plant. And then I have let's see, is that all the hot ones? I want to go over the hot ones and then we'll get to the sweet ones. This is kind of semi, hot. Yeah, it's hot, hot. Sweet. Okay. Let me get it together. So another hot one is cayenne pepper. I don't think they're too hot. They have a good kick to them. Cayenne pepper. I usually have a couple of these plants, and I usually get a lot of cayenne peppers on the plant, and they're not a big plant. They stay pretty small, but you get a lot of peppers. And I have this early jalapeno, which I usually have a couple of these plants, and these are about 2 inches long. They're a short jalapeno. Um, I use these for a slicing to keep them like nachos or whatever, just to slice them and dice them up. So the one thing I do with the jalapenos, I plant these ones. I haven't been able to get the seeds for the mammoth. I usually like to get last couple of years I've bought mammoth jalapenos at Home Depot or Lowe's. Those jalapenos, they're about 4 inches long. They're a bigger jalapeno, and I like to use those to stuff those peppers and make the jalapeno poppers with the cream cheese and some like bacon bits. Either wrap them and bake them or put bacon bits in there. But yeah, those are my jalapeno poppers I like to make. I use the bigger jalapenos, and those if I don't get a plant and they don't do well, I can always get at my local Mexican market. They always have good large jalapenos at the market all year round. So um, I'm not hurting for those. And then another one I didn't try it last year, but the year before I had a couple of plants, and this did really well, was the serrano peppers. These are also hot. They're hotter than the jalapeno. This shows them red, but they actually you pick them when they're green, like the jalapenos. But these are hotter than the jalapeno, but they're also hot. They're also used in a lot of Mexican food. Like you get a little hot pepper. Um, that's usually what you're getting. And then there's some poblanos I like to grow. Now these ones, my poblanos don't get really big here. So I usually make some homemade chili rellenos, which is a stuffed poblano with usually just cheese and I don't dip it in batter like it's traditionally done. I call them naked chili rellenos because I don't do the batter on the outside and dip them in and fry them. I just stuff them with some cheese, some Mexican cheese, and I put them back on the grill, wrapped up in tinfoil, put them on the grill, and we just have them like that. And me and my dad just love them. And those poblanos, they can be hot sometimes, and sometimes they're not. It's just whatever your luck is. And then one of my favorite peppers I like is we use them for diced green chilies like you would get in the store in the can is the Anaheim chili peppers. These can be mild. Sometimes they have a little bit of heat, but most of the time they're mild to not hot. It's just a pepper I use to make I cook them, peel them, and make some diced green chilies. Or we just eat them. You know, you can put them. They're just a chili pepper, so you can put them in whatever. Um, but I want to make I didn't do it last year. I wanted to make my own rotel. So, like with my tomatoes, like my San Marzanos, aromas, cook them, peel them, dice them up, and then do the same with the roast the pepper. These Anaheim chili peppers, roast them, wrap them up, let them sweat, peel off the skin, dice them up, and then just add them to your diced tomatoes, and then you have your own rotel. You can add whatever seasoning, but you know, when you do it that way, you know what you're putting into your homemade rotel. And then these ones, oh, so I have a shishito pepper. These ones are the smaller plant, and these are they say they're mild to not hot. I haven't had a hot one. So this is like I want to say it's a Japanese, came from Japan maybe, or China. I'm not sure where. It's called a shishito pepper. But these are good little pepper. You can just roast them, fry them up in the pan. They're good for like just eat on the side or whatever. And those are a smaller plant, and you get a lot of peppers on that plant, or at least we do. Like everything I'm saying is at least my um my experience with that. And then these are some sweet peppers. These aren't hot. This is a Corno de Toro red. It's like a long turns red pepper, sweet pepper. We also have a giant Marconi. These get really big. These are nice. These are a nice sweet pepper. You see this right? Those are a good pepper. Those always do really well too. They get really big, probably like 6 or 8 inches long. Those peppers. And this is a Cubanelle. This is the same, similar to the giant Marconi. They get long, 6 to 8 inches long. They're a big sweet pepper. Their pepper. It's like a thick, I don't know what you call it, walled pepper. It's a good meaty pepper, but it also has a good sweet flavor. And then is, let's see here, the bell peppers. We usually plant a lot of bell peppers because we love bell peppers. These ones I can slice them or dice them up, chop them up, and I can freeze these, and we can have them for like in the wintertime when we want add some bell peppers to whatever dish you want to make. But this is the YOLO Wonder, a green bell pepper. These are really good. These did really well here. This Grand Bell mix, it's a mixture. I only planted, I think, one plant, but you can get any variety of those colors. And what it is when the plant's on there long enough and they go green, and then when there's colored ones, they don't start out this color. They start out green and then they turn to these colors. Like your red bell peppers will usually start out green and then they turn red. You have to wait for them to turn red. So it takes a little longer, and this is the Golden Cow Wonder, the yellow. So we got a good mix, and this the pepper mix. It just said Grand Bell mixed colors, but so yeah, so that is the seeds I started, and we'll see. We'll check back in probably a week or two to see where our seedlings are at and what's making it so far. Um, yeah, that's what I planted, and that. Oh, and then of course I said the basil. Yeah. I have a whole 6 pods of basil. So, yeah, that is that's that. That's the garden starting a bit. Now it's just we just wait and see what's going to make it, and then I have to. Whoa, broke. I have to start cleaning up the garden area. There's so many weeds out there. Like, I don't go out and do maintenance in the wintertime. I wait till it gets warm and sunny, and then I have to go out there. Of course, I have to deal with all the weeds to cut down, but also the other thing is last year I put down a weed cloth, so the actual uh area in the garden where I planted the tomatoes and my peppers, they were in two different spots. This year we're going to change it up, but um I don't have a lot of weeds in that area because I put down the weed cloth, so it did work. Aside from the gophers, and then of course the cats like to play on the plants, so we're gonna have to figure that out. But it is what it is. Anyway, okay. I hope you enjoyed that, and you seen maybe some seeds or something, or a plant you'd like to try out. They're all pretty simple to grow. It's not really for me not rocket science. You just plant them, keep them wet, and then when I start to plant them out in the garden when they're big enough, I do add a little like food stuff. I'll show you when I get ready to do that. But we'll have little videos every so often to show the progress of the seeds and turning into plants and planting them out in the garden and watching them grow. And okay, I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching.